We have all had painful events in our lives that can lead to depression, anxiety, addiction, or broken relationships. But here's a secret. It is not about what happened to us that causes suffering. It's the stories we believe about ourselves. Join us as we shine light on how to rewrite our stories, avoid the shadows of shame, and travel along the pathway to joy, love, and connection. It's the Finding Peace podcast with your host, Amazon best-selling author, Troy L. Love.
Hello, and welcome to the Finding Peace podcast. This is a pretty special episode. You're about to meet John, who I met probably about a year ago. John has a beautiful soul, but he doesn't really believe that about himself. In his previous life, and I don't mean like past lives, but in his previous life, he was in a band. It was well known at the time, and it's been a part of his journey. So you'll hear him mention that during the podcast. The band is no longer in existence, and he's trying to kind of sort through, some things in his life. But he definitely has a belief in God. He identifies as a Christian. So for those of you who maybe don't share the Christian faith, just a little bit of a heads up that we definitely use a Christian perspective in this to help him heal his wounds a little bit, to address his attachment wounds. Here at Finding Peace Consulting, all faith practices are welcome. All belief practices are welcome. What we try to do is find, using your culture, your belief practice, your background that helps fit for you in this journey to help you find the way that healing can happen for you. And there's no expectation that you believe a certain way in order to experience the kind of healing that you are looking for. In this episode, John taps into his belief structure, his belief process. And I think it's beautiful. And so join me in welcoming John to this episode of the Finding Peace podcast. Thank you, John, for hanging out with me.
Thanks, Troy. I'm happy to be here. Happy to see you.
Thank you. You're a cool dude, man.
Thanks. So are you.
Thank you. So what would you like to have a little bit more peace or joy or clarity about in your life right now?
I just think that in general, like just feeling less like I have to perform in some way or not or present myself in a way that I'm not. I struggle with, I think, authenticity in different circumstances, because as a performer, I definitely, have been able to, as a people pleaser, been able to change and read the room as far as like relationships. And I don't think I really feel okay in any of those situations. I think that I'm often feeling scared and feeling just a hair's breadth away from being outed for a hypocrite or for something, something that I'm not doing right, or just not being good enough. So I guess, I think it's a tall order to try to do in this podcast, but I know your game, and I'm
well,
game
let's
too.
see what we can do. Is there a recent example of that?
As far as not being honest, I'm in recovery, and I have a sponsor, and he's suggested things to me, and then when I bring them to my partner, I don't tell her everything that he says. And then when I talk to my partner, who's very supportive of my recovery, loves me very much, and has had to live with a lot of horrible things, betrayal trauma, and inconsistency. And only lately have I really been better at telling the truth, but I still have these ridiculous things that I keep from her. So I keep from him, I keep from her. And it's with regard to my sponsor, I feel like less like he's not going to fire me or anything like that. He's not going to be mad at me even. He's going to say, well, I would encourage you to use the tools of the program and pray, if you feel fear or whatever. With regard to my partner, she might just she very quickly can get to a place where she shuts down, pulls away, and becomes like a stone-faced
Mm.
thing, and that triggers my panic, I think, because of, I guess, I don't know why. You probably could tell me why. But yeah, so I guess being more honest with my partner is the thing that I would like to help with, because I know she loves me. I know she wants to be with me. She's shown it for a long time, many, many years. And I still don't believe it, you know? I still test her and try her, and I would like to stop doing that. And it's stopping gradually, but like one of your colleagues on Seeking Integrity, John Taylor, has said, everyone has a breaking point.
Mhm.
And I think she might have reached it, or she feels like she might have reached it. So even if it's too late for the relationship, I still would like to be able to show up in a congruent way. The way I am is the way I am. Doesn't matter who I'm talking to. That's not what I was modeled at all. That's not what I learned.
Mm.
I learned how to be liked by everybody, pretty much, except for the bullies,
Mm.
right? Except for the bullies. But maybe that's why I was targeted. But yeah, I guess is that helpful? I mean, does that
Yeah.
seem like we could work with that?
Yeah. So when you think about all those opportunities to step up and tell the truth, and you hold back a little bit, what wound do you think that's most connected to?
Loss, rejection, and abandonment. Those are the three that really stand out to me. If I had to pick one of those three, rejection probably.
Mm.
Rejection / abandonment, which
Yeah.
is loss.
It is. Absolutely. You mentioned being bullied.
Yeah.
Tell me how old you were when the rejection wound started to be created.
I don't know. I was I thought I was kind of I thought I was brought up in kind of a miraculous family when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and my dad were both kind of larger than life people.
Mm.
My dad had been a World War II veteran, jumped on D-Day, and he was a professor and had a master's in psychology. And my mom was a English school teacher, and both of them had been married previously, then met. I mean, I didn't know this back then. I thought they wound up divorcing their partners and marrying, but I think there was an affair, and then they divorced their partners. And so I had all these older half brothers and sisters, and I thought it was like the Brady Bunch, but I don't think I remembered that right. I'm only lately been able, through therapy and through a lot of, I think, work and thinking and talking to my partner, realizing that, yeah, my mom struggled with alcoholism. She was an alcoholic, functional, completely functional. My dad, I don't know. He worked a lot. Like, he was never home, but he was my favorite. My dad was my favorite, like, by a mile. And my dad died when I was 12. And my little brother, he actually told my mom. So I was 12. My brother was probably 11. He said, "I wish it had been you."
Mm.
And my mom just said, "Your father was a great man." That's what she said to my brother. So, I mean, these are people that said and did a lot of great things, but with the inconsistency of the alcohol, I think I blocked a lot of stuff out. So to go back to your question, I don't know. Like, I remember my mom used to say that she prayed for me to have a baby, because when they got married, I don't think my dad wanted to have. My dad didn't. She used to say that too. He didn't want to have any more kids, which I never realized how rejecting that is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because my mom would be telling me the story when I was younger. Your father didn't want to have kids, but it wasn't like he didn't want you. It's just he didn't want to have kids. Like she said, but I prayed for you, and I prayed for you for 6 years. And yeah, so I mean, I think it probably started way earlier. But I can tell you, as far as being bullied, that started in middle school and really climaxed in high school the year after my dad died. My first year, I went to like Catholic high school, an all boys Catholic high school. And that was like and I only went there because he wanted me to go there. And it was like a prep school. And I don't know how, I was like, we couldn't afford it. I think my mom had some kind of scholarship, and I remember the first semester, the first 9 weeks I was there, I made the honor roll. And by the end of the year, I was in summer school. It was awful. And yeah, but it spurred me to be in a band because I used to get off the bus, avoid the eggs and the batteries and the pennies or whatever they throw at me, and then go home, put on the Who and air guitar in my mirror and hold my brush and just think, man, when I make it, those guys are idiots. This is as good as it gets for them. I wouldn't have used those words, but that's what I think I was thinking. Anyway, I don't want to take us off course. So I don't know how to really answer your question other than to say probably longer than I can remember.
All right. And abandonment?
Definitely, I would say when my dad died. But it could be also my mom was probably drunk a lot, and I didn't know it. And so, like, she could be very attuned and make me feel really amazing, and then just be, not there. I think so. I always heard that I was loved, and she definitely took care of me and my brother. She was amazing. If my brother was sitting here with me, he'd want to punch me in the face because he doesn't acknowledge this stuff. Like, he would say, they did the best they could, which I believe. And two things can be true, at the same time. So, so abandonment, definitely when my dad died. And when he died, I didn't even cry. I think, you know what though, memory just came to me, and I'm trusting higher power and all this stuff. When I was about, I don't know, 5 or 6, maybe, somewhere in there, maybe something like that. I only know this from childhood stories. Like, I used to have to go to the hospital a lot for something with my kidneys, and I hated it. And one day my dad told me we were going to go to Playworld. You ever heard of Playworld?
No.
Lionel Playworld. It's like Toys R Us.
Okay.
And I think he just told me that to try to get me to get in the car because he was an older dad. I have kids, and I'm an older dad too. But he's like, I'm not going to fight this monkey. And so he got me in the car, and when we pulled up to the hospital, I started freaking out. I started shrieking, and I felt completely betrayed. And I remember him coming around the back and talking to me. And I don't even remember if we went into the hospital or not, but that just came into my mind. So as far as abandonment, that's not really abandonment, but
it's a little bit of betrayal.
Yeah, definitely betrayal, and I could give you a bunch of examples of abandonment, I guess. My mom, when I was 16, and I was a young 16, I was very emotionally, I still am emotionally immature and young, but again, pretty well able to be liked by people, at least sort of. We were living in a hotel because after my dad died, my mom moved us to Kentucky for 2 years. We were originally from Miami. She moved us to Kentucky for 2 years, and those were like 2 of the best years ever. And I didn't think it was going to be like that. Came back home, so we're living in a hotel, and I think she was just drunk. I didn't know, but I heard her making these noises in the night, and I tried to wake her up, and she wouldn't wake up. And my brother was like freaking out, and so I called the paramedics. They came, they gave her smelling salts, and I could see her, and I can see her face now. Like, after they left, she was like, I'm so humiliated. I'm going to go walk into the ocean. I can't believe you did that to me. And so my brother and I followed her out the hotel courtyard into the beach. She didn't walk. She walked like ankle high because she didn't know how to swim. I didn't tell you that part. She didn't know how to swim. Anyway, so that was pretty traumatic too, as a betrayal or abandonment. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got to stop talking because I recognize I could talk a lot, and I don't know if I'm helping us.
So as you think about all those different experiences, the wounds of loss, rejection, abandonment, what have you come to believe about yourself as a result?
That I'm really no good.
And when you think that, you feel
sad.
Yeah. A lot of sadness.
Yeah. Kind of hopeless.
Mm-hmm. You've been carrying that sadness around for a long time, bro. Your tears are welcome here, man.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I share something with you that's will only take about a minute, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it?
Do we have all the time in the world, so absolutely.
I was seeing a therapist here like a couple years ago, and we did EMDR
Mm-hmm.
only a few times, but like one time we did it, it was awesome. And I had this memory of my dad's death and of a jacket that he came because he had a massive heart attack. Like he died. I saw him the next morning, and he never came home. I saw him that morning, and he never came home. But I remembered doing this EMDR through the different like
Mm-hmm.
tentacles that we went through, or tendrils. I'm not sure what the right word is. That I had coveted that jacket. Like I had wanted that jacket. Like I was thinking, oh, hopefully I'll get that jacket when he's gone, or when done with it. And I forgot all about it. And so I was crying really hard. And it was an awesomely like I felt free, in some ways, because the therapist was a very kind person. And, I don't know that I don't really remember the details. I remember I just felt like something had been lifted.
Mm.
I came home, saw Leslie in the kitchen, and my sons were living here with us at the time, and told her it was great, and I told her, I had to use the bathroom, basically. She said, "You want to say hi to Johnny?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I'll just stick my head down." And it said, "Hey, Johnny." And I came and I went to the bathroom, used the bathroom, came to wash my hands. As soon as I saw myself in the mirror, I had the worst feeling. I'd never had that feeling before that I can remember. I had never had that feeling before. And I don't know if that was like shame or self-hatred or what it was, but it was like I didn't want to see. I didn't want to lose what I had. And it was like looking at the mirror, it kind of felt like it was going to go. I was losing it. I felt like I was losing it. And I don't know if you know anything about that, or because that therapist was never able to explain that to me. I think it's related to what we're talking about, core beliefs, and I don't know what that emotion was. It was definitely fear. And I think also like I was repelled by the image in the mirror,
Yeah. What did you see?
Me? I saw myself. But I saw, I think I saw myself. Thank you for asking that. I think I saw myself like okay, like clear, like I'm okay, and it's like I was repelled by that, and that's messed up. Like it almost sounds like I'm like possessed or something, because like why would I want to not see that all the time? Why would I not want to feel that way all the time?
Well, what's the answer?
Maybe if I can blame myself for things, at least there's a cause and effect, like it's not just a random. There is a denominator. I don't know. I really don't know. That's my first guess.
All right.
I don't know, but I'm open to learning.
Well, we're going to figure it out. So
Okay. Awesome.
you're in the bathroom and you see the beautiful version of yourself, the clean version. I don't know. How do you want to describe that?
I saw myself like I'd never seen myself before.
Yeah. The light.
And it was scary.
So in that moment, some shadows showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an idea of who was there?
Judge for sure. Judge for sure. Yeah, I think at that moment, because that was a one of a kind of moment. I don't really recognize anybody else.
Okay.
Because I was really scared, and really
You're afraid that.
Well, I was afraid I was losing this kind of beautiful clarity that I had. I was saying I wish I could remember exactly what I was thinking, because the thoughts precede the feeling, right? It just seemed to happen so fast. It was like, who is that person? Oh no, he's full of crap. He's full of crap. Maybe the politician too. I don't know.
Okay. Definitely the judge.
Definitely the judge.
If you had a concept of what the judge looks like for you, what would
I brought this so I could show you.
Oh, you drew a picture.
Yeah, I mean, I did this workboook like a couple of years ago before I ever started coming to the calls. This is my judge. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Oh, wow. He's a big muscly. Is that an
Yeah.
axe? He's
That's a hammer. It's supposed to be like a gavel.
hammer. Oh,
A
okay.
gavel, sentencing.
Yeah.
He's pretty clean cut too.
Yeah. Does he remind you of the bullies?
He kind of reminds me of my dad, like stature-wise, when I look at it.
Mm,
He's not smiling either.
no.
He's got a little dimpled chin like I do. He kind of reminds me of my dad, or me. Like I could see myself in all these pictures.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's big. He's buff.
Yeah, I'm not that big.
And what does he say to you?
Mm.
Or what was he saying to you in that moment in the bathroom?
Just what I said, like, that's a hypocrite, that's you're bad, you're a piece of crap. You're a piece of crap. You know, you're no good. And now that I'm thinking, I don't know that I was thinking about this then, but I'm guessing I had been like, I wanted to get to the bathroom. I didn't want to see my sons because at the time, and still, my son, my second child is like, he's 13 now. No, he's 13, yeah, and he's taller than I am. But he was kind of in trouble a lot, and I kind of didn't want to see him because I wanted to keep this good feeling, So I just kind of yelled down on "Hey, Johnny, I'm hungry. I got to use the bathroom." I'm sure that I was thinking, "You're a terrible dad." Whatever I could say is terrible about me was what the judge would say.
So your judge was telling you you're a terrible dad, you're fake,
Yeah.
you're false, you're a fraud.
You're fake, you're false. Definitely you're fake, you're false. And it was weird, Troy. Like I wish I could tell you how I exactly felt. I don't think it was like I didn't even feel like that was a human that I saw in the mirror too, like I think the first thought was yeah, I don't know, because I know that I just said a few minutes ago I saw myself as clear and good, but maybe it was an immediate thing, like an immediate judgment, like coming in or something.
Mm-hmm.
It was just weird. I didn't want to look in the mirror because I felt like that would break the spell in a sense, because maybe I spend so much time looking in the mirror and judging myself and wanting to look a certain way in front of people that I didn't want to look in the mirror. I wanted to just keep. In fact, I remember I looked away. So I don't think. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I was afraid. So that's where the judge probably came in. I'm going to go back to the way that I have been, which is this hypocrite, and then I guess the impotent one came in.
Right.
Nothing you can do about it,
Yeah, you're not. This isn't gonna last. You're gonna mess up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You should see my impotent one too, because that's the drawing I think I'm the most proud of.
I want to see it.
Can I show you your impotent one?
Please. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Got no hands or feet.
Yeah, they're just like flippers.
Yeah, just and not even any real straight lines.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all wheels.
What does it say?
Can't do anything. She has actually. I said she kind of does look like a woman.
Yeah, it looks like a girl.
Yeah, she has feet. She doesn't have hands, and she's just kind of standing there, not in a wave, like in a wave. So not stable, not solid.
Yeah, just kind of flipping around.
Yeah, yeah. And even the neck, the neck does not attach to the shoulders. The head's kind of floating. I never noticed that.
Yeah.
Never noticed that.
It's connected.
Yeah, I loved doing this workbook, and I wish I kind of did it by myself, but I mean, my therapist at the time, he did listen to the podcast. The man that did the EMDR, he's blind, like legally blind. He's a great guy, but I don't think I don't think we really worked through it the way that I would have been the most helpful. But just me doing it was helpful. I know that.
It makes me happy.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pause the moment in the bathroom for a second. We're going to go back to that moment when you're talking to your sponsor.
Okay.
And you're asking him a question that your partner asked you to ask him, but you're not telling him that she's asked you to ask him. In that moment, what shadows are present?
Well, politician, right? Politician for sure.
Okay. Politician says what to you?
isn't the politician the one that tells you to look a certain way
You have
in
to
front
look a
of other
certain
people?
way.
Yeah. The politician in that moment is saying, I don't know, Troy. I mean, like in that moment when I'm doing that, I'm really just trying to cover my ass.
Well, that's
I'm
what the
only think,
politician wants you to do, right?
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cover your ass.
Yeah.
Don't tell him,
Yeah.
because if you
Yeah.
tell him that
And he's
she's
gonna,
asking this question, he's going to think,
well, he's gonna think that I'm not working my program the way he wants me to do it, because he's told me really there's nothing to talk to, about my recovery, really, with her.
mm.
That's the codependent piece, he says. That's the codependence. And as addicts, we are codependents too.
So he's going to think that you're codependent and you're not working your program.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not working my program, and he is gonna fire me.
Oh, and then he's
That's the
going to
fear.
fire you.
That is the fear that he's gonna let
Oh,
me go. And I tell you, man, he's been a lifesaver. He
okay.
really has been an amazing, amazing person in my life. I'm a different person because of him being my sponsor. I believe that. So
Right.
I don't want to lose that.
Right. So the politician is telling you to soften it up. Don't tell him where this question is really coming from, because he won't think that you are doing recovery. He's going to be disappointed in you. He's going to see your codependence, and then he's going to reject
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm always ready to be rejected, I think. I'm always looking for it.
Say more about that.
Well, part of a lot of the fights that I get into now with my partner, who definitely loves me, is because I'm afraid she's going to leave. And I when I think about the band, like we talked about in the beginning, something happened after the first 2 or 3 years together with the band, where I kind of think I just kind of stopped trying. Like I was still there, but I wasn't as involved. And that coincided with the same time that my partner and I now broke up, because we were together back then too.
Mhm.
And then we reconnected 5 years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah. And for another example, I applied to a job a couple of days ago, and I got an email today saying, we'd love to have you come in for an interview. And I was really surprised and happy. And then my partner was like, did you not think you were going to get a call back from you? And I said, I didn't think about it, but I guess I didn't. I guess I didn't think that I was going to get a call back. So that's just an example, like always ready. I think I'm always ready I expect it. I expect it.
Mm.
But I haven't been rejected a lot, really, in my life. I don't think I haven't at all.
Ready, but you're always ready for it, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was rejected, when we were talking about being bullied. I mean, that was that was a daily occurrence, rejection.
Right. And so you came to believe that I'm not enough. You said I'm bad.
I'm no good. Yeah,
I'm
I'm no good. Yeah. I'm not as direct as I'd like to be either. It's always, I'm not this, I'm not that, I don't do this, instead of I'm this, I'm that, I do this.
So on a scale of 1 to 7, 7 being absolutely true and 1 being completely false, how true are the words, you are bad?
Say it again. 7 being absolutely
7
true?
being absolutely true and 1 being completely false. How true does it feel? Not your brain. How true does your heart tell you? How true does it feel that you're no good?
It's pretty high. 6.
Well, it's not a 7.
It might be. I might not be telling the truth to myself.
Oh.
That's an issue too.
And the evidence that you use to validate that you're no good is?
I do think I blame my dad for him dying, blame myself. I didn't tell you this, but I had discovered masturbating right the summer before he died, And I think that I'd hear him getting up in the morning, and I would be, developing my addiction. And I would be hiding it from him, And believe me, I didn't have to hide it from him, because I think that, I found his magazines, so. But I think I connected that somehow, because it was, I would say definitely within 6 months of me learning about that and really becoming addicted to masturbation and begin to isolate and really getting lost in the fantasy. He died suddenly. And I think I probably was starting to not see him as this perfect guy also. Like I remember there was a couple times like he actually hit me. Like I got spanked a lot by my mom and my dad, but like he actually hit me with the back of his hand and knocked me out of the room. Like I stumbled. And he wasn't a tall man, but he was a very strong man. And even at whatever age he was at. So I think there's probably some of that I haven't looked at too. But I do think that
you felt like it's your fault that he died.
Yes, like I somehow caused it.
How?
Through the sex and the masturbation. It's nutty. I know.
Well, just sit with that for a second. How old are you?
12.
Okay. And your son is 13?
Yeah, he's 13.
Okay, so think about he's just a little older than your 12-year-old self. Can you imagine him taking responsibility for somebody having a heart attack?
Can I imagine him doing it, or can I imagine that it's reasonable?
Is it reasonable that he would
No, it's not reasonable. I understand that.
Yeah. Your brain knows that, right?
Yes, but my heart does not know that.
So what makes your 12-year-old think it's his fault? If your 12-year-old was sitting next to you and you were having a conversation with him, say, tell me, bud, like, how's this your fault? What would he tell you?
I'm not sure. I remember my dad didn't, like, I think I told you, he was my favorite. Like, you know, he was like Superman. And I loved him. And I still do. And I remember we only had a very few conversations, very short. And I remember him not being pleased with me, like, not like he didn't like me or anything. When I was little, he gave us IQ tests, and I did well, had a high IQ. But then when I was like closer to that age of 11, 12, 13, I remember him asking me, you know, he'd set up these logic problems and like really strange questions too. Like if you were in a hole and the water was rising, how would you get out of the hole? Things like survival things, you know. And I didn't have an answer. And I could tell he was disappointed, you know, about that. And I was just, you know, I don't know. I didn't have an answer. And now as an adult, and I'm telling you this story, and I'm realizing he was worried about me probably. But I think I saw that as rejection too. And I don't know I don't know how to answer you, because I really know that I didn't cause his death. I know that.
I know your brain knows that.
Yeah. But Troy, you know what? 3 or 4 years ago, I wouldn't have even put that out there as like something I ever even thought. So it's only because I've been doing the work that I've been doing that I'm thinking about these things. Why does my brain know it? Why does my brain know it? So I got to ask my 12-year-old self that.
Well, can you imagine he's sitting next to you?
That was a pretty lonely time. So what am I supposed to ask him?
Well, let's just start with, can you imagine him sitting next to you?
Yes.
Do you like him?
No.
You don't like a 12-year-old because?
Because he is fat, and he is obnoxious, and he does make a lot of mistakes, and he is annoying, and I don't know why else. Is that enough reasons?
Okay, so can you imagine telling your 13-year-old, dude, I don't like you, you're fat?
I can totally imagine it, because he's obnoxious. I love
You're obnoxious.
I love him too. We play basketball and stuff a lot. Like when I go down there and see them, I love him. Can I imagine really feeling that though? No, not at all. I love him.
But you feel that way toward your younger self.
That's great. Yeah, if I think about him like my son, that's helpful.
Okay. So is it his fault that he's annoying?
No, definitely not.
Is it I don't that he's fat?
Actually, let me take it back. It probably is his fault a little bit that he's annoying, and that he's fat. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I definitely ate whatever I could eat, and yeah. I mean, I'm kind of old, you know, so I don't have the whole, you know, how things are different now as far as being bullied and different sorts of shaming that is not practiced these days.
Right. We're gonna try not to shame him. Okay.
Okay.
So can you find some compassion for him, or do you just hate him?
I mean, I can empathize with his loneliness.
Okay.
Yeah. I can empathize with his loneliness, but he's also a coward because he doesn't have to be lonely. He could talk to his brother. He's got a little brother. He picks on a lot, but he could talk. He could be more honest with his mom
Well,
and his dad.
why is he not honest?
I don't think she's really approachable at all.
So
all the time.
if he told the
She,
truth,
she's inconsistent because she's totally approachable when she's not, inebriated.
so
And very wise and very helpful and caring. Oh, I feel like such a jerk nodding assent to that because she took care of me and my brother, after my dad died. She was
okay, so she did, and she wasn't dependable. So why would a 12-year-old trust that he could go to her? He's not sure which mom he's gonna get.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And more often than not, it was a pretty severe person. It wasn't the friendliest or nicest person.
So she could be really mean?
She is tall also, yes. She could be very mean. She could be scary. Like, yeah.
What would she call him?
What would she call a 12-year-old?
Yeah.
Just his name.
Oh, she wouldn't say mean things to him?
I don't remember that. I mean, she would like, I don't remember mean names being called. Like, she spanked us pretty quickly.
So she'd hurt you.
Yeah.
So we got an abuse wound going on too.
I guess so.
And this is, again, we're not here to throw your mom or your dad under the bus. What we're looking at is your wounds, right? So we got a 12-year-old who's got a rejection wound, an abandonment wound. He's got a betrayal wound. He's got an abuse wound. He's hurting this little guy. And it's not about anybody's fault. It's just that he's hurting. And he's hurting really bad. And then he goes to school and school doesn't feel safe for him.
Yeah.
He stumbled on a behavior that pretty much every 12-year-old stumbles on. He stumbled on a behavior that soothed some of that pain for him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he also felt horrible. Like, his judge was already there. Following him around, telling him he's an idiot, nobody likes you, you're fat, it's your fault your dad died. You're doing so good, bro. So, as he's sitting next to you, do you still hate him? No, I don't. I don't feel the same kind of, I don't feel that antipathy that I did. Something shifted a little bit.
Yeah. I have more empathy for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I definitely do. Thank you for that.
You did it. I just asked questions.
Thank you for asking the questions.
Okay, so here you're back in the bathroom and you catch a glimpse of your authentic, real, powerfully beautiful self. It's almost angelic, I think. And then you immediately want to reject that. And I'm not saying that from a judgment place. Like, you've been rejected your whole life. And so when you see your true self, you reject it too. It's so overwhelming, so scary.
Is that really what you think happened?
Yeah.
Oh.
Your shadows showed up. Your judge is like, you're fake. You're impotent ones.
Right.
That's not real. You can't do this. You can't pull that off. Your politician, like, they're all there.
Yeah.
And why are they there? What are they trying to do?
Protect me. I've been on the calls enough to know. Yeah.
Protect you from what?
The wounds. Rejection, abandonment, betrayal, abuse.
Yeah, all of them.
Rejection is probably the biggest one, though. Rejection / abandonment, because a rejection is abandonment, and it's not just.
That's right. And you, and out of the people we've been talking about, you're really afraid that your partner's going to reject you. You're afraid that your sponsor's going to reject you.
And God too. I mean, take it all the way to the top.
Oh, God's going to
all the way to the top, you know? Yeah. And I think there's something there too with my dad, you know, because one of my amends that I made, did I tell you about my ninth step? I don't know if I told you that or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did. Okay. But one of the amends I made was to God, you know, like to, because I know that's, I mean, he didn't take my dad. Well, I mean, who knows what God does and how he does it. I don't know. I don't even know what your belief is really, but I know that's, again, up here. I know that's not true, you know?
So tell me what your conceptualization of God is.
Um, it's a father. It's a maker, you know? It's someone who loves everything he made and everyone he made. And he, you know, whatever, including me, and all this is up here, you know?
Well,
And do you think
like your spiritual beliefs are welcome here. I'm not going to talk you out of it, right? So I want you to use that.
What I mean is I don't know that I believe that.
Oh.
What I mean is I don't know that I believe that.
Mm.
Like I think that I'm afraid of being rejected by him.
Mm.
You know, and I think that deep down inside, especially with the work that I've been doing with the steps, I don't think I'm going to get rejected by him. I don't think that he's going to reject me at all.
Mm.
But that's, again, I don't think.
Can I ask you what faith you practice?
Yeah. Well, my mom was a Church of Christ Christian, which is kind of like pretty severe, and my dad was a Catholic, but neither one of them were. They both were like very dubious of religion.
Mm.
So my mom taught me to pray, and they both taught me that God was real, but that, you know, he might not be necessarily that interested. You know, that he's just, you know, he's real and he's great and he's true. And then I got put into Catholic school in 4th grade, which really sucked. Yeah, it would be, that's what formed my, I guess.
Would you identify as Christian?
Yes.
So you believe in Jesus Christ? I'd
identify as someone who's really trying as hard as he can to follow Jesus. Yeah.
Okay.
To not just believe. I want to follow him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can I do something with you?
Anything, Troy. That's why I'm here.
So I want you to close your eyes. I want you to put your feet on the ground.
Yeah.
I want you to take a deep breath and let it go. And another one. And I want you to imagine that you begin traveling back through time and space. And you continue traveling back and back until you find yourself on a sandy field. It's kind of deserty. It's a spring afternoon. It's hot. And it's just this dusty trail. You follow it and you see that there's a crowd of people. And you see that they are standing around 3 crosses. And as you get nearer, you recognize the guy in the middle because you've heard about him. And you realize that this is Jesus Christ. And he's hanging there. He's been hanging there for a couple of hours. And you recognize that he has wounds. He's been up all night. He's been bullied, spat upon. He's been beaten. He's been betrayed. He's been abandoned. He's been rejected. And even it feels as if God, his Father, has even left him alone. So here is this beautifully bleeding Son of God who has all 6 wounds: loss, neglect, rejection, abandonment, betrayal, and abuse. And he says, as you're hearing him, Father, forgive John, for he knows not what he does. And then the scene changes. And it's a spring morning, it's Sunday. And you see him. He's been resurrected. He still has the wounds in his hands and in his feet so he can show people who he is. And he sees you and he invites you to come over. You see love in his eyes. And he sees your wounds: loss, neglect, rejection, abandonment, betrayal, and abuse. Does he judge you?
No. No.
How does he feel about you?
He loves me.
Yeah. You believe that in your heart or just your brain?
No, I feel that.
All right.
In the scene that I'm seeing, yeah.
Yeah, breathe it in. I want you to breathe it in. And then I want you to ask him a question. He knows that for your entire life you felt bad, no good, unwanted. What is actually true about you? He knows all the mistakes you've made. He knows all the things you've struggled with, wrestled with. He knows all the good things that you've done, all the things that you've tried. He knows all your wounds. He knows everything about you, and he loves you unconditionally.
What's true about me?
Yeah.
Yeah. All I heard is I love you. That's all I heard.
I am loved.
So I am loved. I am loved. Yeah.
By God himself.
Yeah.
Breathe that in. God loves me.
There's this this inclination that I felt it come up a little bit. Like I'm gonna have to prove something, you know.
Ask him, do I have to prove anything to you?
No.
So where's that coming from?
Me.
No.
The shadows of shame.
Yes. The judge is said, just imagine this judge is kind of in the back because he's a little intimidated. He's like, Jesus is saying, John, I love you. You don't have to prove anything to me. I've actually taken care of all of your mistakes 2,000 years ago. We're like, you're good. And the judge is like, no, but you got to prove it to him. You got to prove that you're enough. You're not trying hard enough. As you kind of feel that energy of this being of light and unconditional love on your right, and then the judge over there on your left, Where's the energy? Where are you attracted? Who are you going to buy into?
Oh, I believe the Lord.
Yeah. So breathe into that and let that light just shine brightly. And notice what that does to the judge.
Yeah, he kind of evaporates.
Yeah, he just kind of poof.
Mhm.
The light overwhelms the shadow. And ask the Savior again, what's true about you?
I want you. I've always wanted you.
I love you.
Oh,
God
I
loves
love
me.
you.
He wants me. Okay,
Yeah.
so I want you to imagine.
Okay.
You say to him, okay, so I have to have this conversation with my sponsor.
Uh-huh.
And my partner really wants me to ask him this question about if I'm really ready to be a sponsor, but I'm really afraid to tell him because I'm afraid he's going to just, think I'm a moron. What should I do?
So my partner wants me to ask this question of my sponsor, and I'm afraid to let him know that she's the one who wants me to ask the question because I'm afraid he's going to call to my attention that it's my program and I don't need to involve her. He's going to be upset with me and, think I'm not doing well. What should I do? I mean, I don't know, Troy. I'm not really like, I think I got to just ask, I feel like it doesn't really matter, like
So do
ask
you
or
think
don't
he's going to
ask.
tell you a lie?
No.
Okay. So he's
No.
like, why are you asking me this? You already know that. You already know. So then you say, but I'm really afraid that if I tell him, he's going to reject me.
Okay. That's not true, is what I definitely quickly received. Yeah. That's not true. That's not true.
And sometimes I'm really
Spend more time with me.
Oh.
And you'll be less scared.
Yeah. And sometimes I'm really afraid to be completely transparent with her because I'm afraid she's going to leave me.
That's a little harder to really put myself back there. Maybe because I opened my eyes for a little bit.
That's okay. So you think he's going to say, well, then just lie to her?
No. What I got from right now was like, you gotta trust me more, something like that, something along those lines. You gotta trust me more.
Trust me, man. He's like, trust me, John.
Yeah. And I mean, I believe she's been the one for me since I saw her at 17. She was 15.
So he's asking you to trust him, to be honest, to have integrity with your words.
Yes. Oh, I'm scared too.
Of course you are. Tell him that. I'm scared. What's true about you?
That I'm loved by him. That I'm wanted by him. And that I've always been wanted and always will be. And that he gave it all.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the opposite of fear is faith.
Right.
Stepping into the darkness without any knowledge of what's going to happen next. In Hebrews, Paul talks about faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the confidence of things not seen. So you have this assurance that things are going to be okay. I'm going to tell the truth. I have no evidence that she's going to accept it or not, but I'm going to walk into this really scary arena and tell the truth and have the assurance that God's got me and he's not leaving me.
Yes. Sometimes, and not to throw this out there because I know we're probably over time already, but I am afraid of revealing the thoughts that I have because they're so, not savory. You know?
Well, there's wisdom in what you share, but the truth is, if you're not honest, she's going to leave.
Yeah. Boy,
the deception causes her to leave, not not honesty.
Right.
I
Thank
can't tell
you.
you how many women tell me, just don't lie to me. Tell me the truth. I can handle the truth. I can handle the truth. But I can't handle being lied to.
Right. Mm.
So I want you to breathe that truth in one more time. God loves me.
Mm.
I'm loved. Where in your body do you feel that?
Oh, right here, and it extends out to my whole, all my extremity. Yeah.
What color is it?
So my heart, red, rosy red.
What temperature is it?
Warm. Not too hot. Warm.
What texture?
Soft. And like kind of like suede.
So, if you look at me for a second, I'm going to have you.
Yeah.
You can do the butterfly hug, which I've taught you. Connect your thumbs, and then right here, just very slowly tap right and left, and say your truth.
I am loved. I am wanted. I've always been wanted. I'm forgiven. And I'm enough. And I have enough.
Just breathe that in. Let that red, warm.
I'm loved. I'm forgiven. I'm wanted. And I can tell the truth. Because God's not going anywhere.
Exactly. So how can you remember this?
I don't think I'm going to forget it.
Oh, good. There's a couple things you can do. One is journal.
Okay.
And two is every day connect with that feeling and do the butterfly hug like you're doing right now.
I've never done this before. Must have missed, unless it's in the book. I don't know.
It's not. It's not. Just really slowly, just tapping right, left.
I'm loved by God.
And by me too.
And by Troy.
Yeah.
And by myself.
I love that. You love you. Your sponsor loves you. Your
I just got a sight of that 12-year-old again sitting to my right. It was pretty cool.
Does he love you?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he does. He's pretty proud of you, actually.
Okay, man. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
That was awesome.
You did amazing tonight. Thank you for being
my pleasure. I love that I didn't really know what was going to be talked about. And I'm going to journal right now before I go reconnect with Leslie.
Good.
So I can keep it all,
Yeah. I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I saw that you sent me like the 5-day challenge or something like that. So I can start that tomorrow, right?
You can start it whenever.
I'm going to. Thank you for sending that to me.
You're welcome. I hope you have a beautiful night.
Thanks, Troy. You too. It was great. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Finding Peace podcast. If you love the show or want to ask a question, let us know by going to findingpeaceconsulting.com. There, you can also learn about the Finding Peace 5-Day Challenge. Remember to subscribe to this podcast so you won't miss the next episode. And if you are listening on iTunes, please give us a 5-star rating. It really does help other people find this podcast more easily. Thank you for spending part of your journey with us. And a special thanks to Johnny Porter for producing the show, and A.G. Flux for the new background music. Copyright Finding Peace Consulting.